All right, Zig coming in on the top. Today on the show, we have Michael Hampton, a.k.a. Kidd Funkadelic. Michael has a seat aboard the Mothership as one of the lead guitarists in the Parliament Funkadelic pantheon. Michael has spent the last half-century playing over 400 shows with Parliament Funkadelic. Michael's journey started when he was only 17. Cleveland born and raised, he found himself in an unknown audition for Funkadelic. He was playing Maggot Brain at an after party, and unbeknownst to him, the members of Funkadelic were there listening. And when it came time that they needed a guitarist to fill in, Michael got the call. This was a really fun conversation I had with Michael, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys, especially if you dig Parliament and Funkadelic, because he gets really deep into some lore and working with each of the members, really cool stuff. But before we get to that, Michael has a new EP that is available now on all the streaming platforms. It's called In the Public Domain. The EP is a meld of rock, world music with jazz and western overtones. And what's cool about this EP is it will be released under its title's philosophy, being that it will be released under a public domain license, granting artists, filmmakers, and marketeers everywhere royalty-free usage of all the elements of the album except for the artwork. The multi-track audio files for each song will be posted online for free remix and sampling purposes. And if you know Funkadelic, this is how their music survived and influenced a whole nother generation. I think it's a really cool way to pay homage to that. The EP is called In the Public Domain. Before this EP was another EP called King Kong, and it's got a completely different style, but it's really cool as well, so I recommend you guys check that out. Also on all the streaming platforms under Michael Hampton. All right. So before we get to this chat, I got to do a little self-promotion here. I play in a band called C Level, letter C dash Level. We are a high-energy funk punk reggae rock group that takes 12-string acoustic guitars and runs them through Marshall amplifiers. And we have a new single out with HR of Bad Brains called What's Left. It's available on all the streaming platforms. We're really stoked and proud about it. So if you dig this interview and dig my interview timbre, you might like my music. So check that out. That's C-Level, What's Left, featuring HR of Bad Brains. And last thing before we get to this talk, if you can like, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast and any of the podcast platforms, it helps me keep talking to cool guests like Michael Hampton and sharing his insight with you. So without further ado, this is my conversation with Michael.
Hey, man, good morning.
Good morning.
Where you at?
I'm out of Cleveland.
Oh, no way,
Yeah,
What's
man.
going on, man? What it be like?
It's cold today, man.
I'm up there. I'm in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. It's not too warm.
Not too warm there either, yeah. Awesome.
It's the 30s, but
So the kind of jump into it, you grew up in Berea, right?
well, I was born in Berea,
Okay.
and then grew up on the west side of Cleveland. I have a brother that lives in Berea right now. But yeah, I mean, he moved to Berea. We both grew up on the west side. We all did, the family. But on the west side of Cleveland, I went to Brookline Elementary, Hawthorne, the next school, and then Carl F. Schuler, and then graduated John Marshall High School. Okay. I was thinking I'm not sure did Joe Boss ever go through Cleveland or anything that you know of? Okay, somebody said that it was like it was so long ago, but it was like they thought they had seen his name in one of the books or something. You know how you put your name in the book?
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe.
But,
I'd have to do some digging on that, but I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it, man,
Yeah. Cleveland, man, you know what I mean? Everybody's probably going to be coming through the rock and roll capital.
Yeah, man.
One of them. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So so at an early age, was music was it introduced? Was your family very musical, or did guitar just kind of find you at a different age?
Yeah, it found me around I found it, or it around 13. It really something clicked. give it like a real brief, or try to give it a brief thing. But, like coming up, he used to take the hangers used to be made out of a little cardboard piece in between the wire, and then break those into and use them like drumsticks and pencils like a drumstick, and just then playing on the hood of cars, like the neighbor was kind of shut up, we like beating the shit out of a car, it's like rhythm. Then got some bongos. I wanted to play drums, but percussion was something I could start messing around with a lot first. And like we had some bongos, the kind that you would have to heat them up over the stove to get the skins to tighten up, and before they, had to, but, and then my friend of mine, his father played drums in the band, and the kid just looked so, I guess, just kind of it was pretty cool to see a drum set just sitting up in the basement somewhere, It's like, wow, but it was too much for a small house, Well, I couldn't be playing drums right over my parents' bedroom. So, but they, later on they, broke down and when it broke down, but it got me a guitar, for Christmas or something, But I had I went like my dad, he was a Korean War vet, mom's, she did her thing downtown, a social worker. But they listen to music at it, say like you don't want to go to sleep, so you can hear the record player is right in the little hallway, the room. So I'm always listening to some music of some sort, like, and I didn't think, that it would turn into to playing, because, just look over into and watch the record just go around and wonder how, how the sound was actually being produced, through the speakers and stuff like that. But let me move along. My first road trip was to Landover, Maryland, and I was with my aunt, my uncle, and like later on, down the street from them, it was a guy. He had a guitar, and at that time, before I even visited my aunt, my uncle there, all my friends, we were trying to play like Get Ready on one string, or Can't Get No Satisfaction one string. It's like just trying to play a little Dazed and Confused or something. I don't know. It's just something that was really easy. You think you got one string and you could kind of tell what it was, but it wasn't a full chord. So, Get Ready, Rare Earth. I believe they did a remake of the Temptation song. And so, let's see. Well, what happened was I went over a friend of mine's house in Maryland. He had another piece of a guitar, and he also was playing Rare Earth. I guess we was from the same age. And so I was playing along with it, and or whatever song it happened to be. And I guess as being like a linear player, I guess it's sort of like a trombone player does this thing with the slide. Is it just took the one string instead of like my little breakthrough was playing maybe the song in the first position down there low in the neck, and then just carrying up that same string, just taking it all the way to the top fret, and then that's kind of when I think it just kind of clicked, like, besides not being able to, like, I said, football, baseball. Pee Wee baseball is pretty cool. I got a little trophy. Yeah. But like other sports, it wasn't like, you want to be a jock, but your body wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
You got to have them. So you can watch Jim Brown all you want, but so it just kind of like narrowed down, basketball and that, and it's like, oh, maybe I have a knack for this, and I just started playing little pieces of whatever I could. When I got back home, I borrowed a guitar from somebody that just didn't play it no more. He got it for Christmas. It had to be strings on it. And then I tried to play Super Bad, James Brown. That's kind of like a single lick. It was a lot of little single licks that I tried to get. And then I just started trying to, when I got the first guitar, and I tuned it up kind of like Vassarpool, where it was kind of like that. It sounds like a chord open, but then it was a toy piano later on with the Mel Bay book. And you find out, okay, this is E, A, D. This is how it's really tuned, and I started figuring out how to do some chords, looking at Mel Bay books and things of that sort. And I had my first teacher was this guy, John DiCero. It was at Di Fiore's Music on the west side over there. And he was lessons in the basement there. But I had him for like about 3 months. And so, it's like affording the lessons and all that stuff. Plus, I had been playing like maybe 2 years before trying to play 2 years before I started taking lessons. And so with that teacher, John DiCero, he was a jazz guy, if you could say that. And then, he just taught me some basic techniques and the chords, still fascinated with chords and just suspensions. Like anything my physical hand could reach, you ain't got like a big hand. I'm just trying to hit a big chord, Yeah. But so and then I just kept playing like from some albums that some of my friends let me borrow. One of them would be Funkadelic, and the one with the heads on it. So they came with one of the first Funkadelic albums, and basically I was playing, but in order to prove to my friends that I could play, I would have to play something that they knew. So I'd borrow their records, play along with the record, and then soon after a while I could play without the record, then it was Maggot Brain or Stand on the Verge, or we were trying to, like, had a little band, a 3-piece band. We were trying to play Frankenstein and Smoke on the Water and all that,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Money by the Pink Floyd. That was a nice lick.
Yeah, man.
So all of those licks like that, and just, Stairway to Heaven, stumbled on that. And, I still probably don't really have it down, but, it's never have any of it down. And let's see. Okay, so that's basically how I got into playing. And then met a guy on the east side of Cleveland, and his name is Ed Sparks. And we could practice over at his house. So my cousin and myself, my cousin talked him into getting the bass for Christmas. And so that was my first bandmate in a sense, And we were, he played the notes to Maggot Brain, and I played the lead part, with Howard. And I'm skipping around here, but they did basically, this guy knew the group. And
Ed Sparks knew the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They came to a house party that he threw after they did a show at Public Hall. It was, I think it was Bloodstone. They had Take to the Sky on a Natural High or something. I think that was the hit record. And then Funkadelic was on the set too. With, I guess "Standing on the Verge" was the hit then, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, seeing George, he's funny because he jumped off the stage, and the whole audience parted. It was like a semi half circle where he landed from the stage because he had that ooga booga witch doctor looking, you know, stars cut in his hair, you know, in his fro. So, but anyway, yeah. But after that, they came to the after party, and we were set up over there, and it wasn't like a scripted audition or nothing like that. But it's like play Mega Man, go play Mega Man. You know, it's like so. Went in there, and we because of myself kicked, you know, just played it, and they were standing around. It was really dark, you know, sort of like a house party type situation. But I didn't know they were standing around me, so they're basically, you know, right next to me and over my neck, and then later on, I think that Eddie and Billy went to Motown, and they did I guess like Shaky Ground and Living in a Glass House or something that you could tell that Funkadelic type of groove on Shaky Ground for sure.
Oh, for
Eddie
sure.
And Billy,
Yeah.
and Billy and then I think it's the same time that it said that a guy had a bad acid trip in Michigan, you know, so he was the guy that they were going to get to come in for Eddie, or, you know, and then Tiki Forward, the original drummer there, and he called me and asked me, it was like about 2 weeks after the show in Cleveland, and they had a show at the Capitol Center when it was there in Landover, Maryland. And then, I got my cousin take me to the airport, and you know, and then I got to the place. You know, it wasn't like I was running away from home, but it was like my parents were cool. You know, I called them after the show and everything, let them know I was all right. But I opened up for the band in Landover, Maryland. It was a sold out show there. They were one of the first places that had the closed circuit TV screen.
Yeah.
You know, you look up there, and I looked up there, and I'm like, I'm a big fat head is on the screen. I'm like, whoa, man. You know, so I think after that, I was done, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so. And then as time went on, like, I played Maggot Brain. I'd step to the side. Then the whole show, they played the show. And then they taught me the other parts of the show later on. And then I was incorporated in the whole show, like the Cosmic Slop is all based on the original Cosmic Slop, but I got a chance to do some improv, so I just kind of reinforced it how I felt. I mean, I didn't know really what I was doing. I know I like rock and all that, so I hit the big power chord, and I don't know how we came up with the or how it came about that the live version went like it did, but I guess I was just playing and practicing so much, it's whatever came up, you know. And I think the climb to that at the end, because I was you know, I heard a bunch, like the guy from they did Vince Walker's like Mandrill. They did a song and the solo, he did a climb, and I bit off a few things that I knew.
Well, and it's that linear stuff too, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around.
No, dude, I love it, man. That's your journey, and wow, that's like it kind of go like when you learn those like songs at the beginning that really like kind of help you develop your guitar vocabulary to like,
Mhm.
I mean, I think every musician has that type of song, and like, it's so like incredible that like for you, Maggot Brain was one of those, and then to
Right.
find yourself in the situation where you get to play it for them, and kind of the best way, not knowing they're there, because I personally, if I knew they were there and I was playing, it would not go as good
Yeah.
as if I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like I've been in a zone trying to remember how it went, and so like I'm still listening to it, that the live version. I mean, the studio version, and then I forget that I did the live version was reissued on the One Nation, and I'm like, well, some people only know that version of it that I did that's live, and then other people know. So I'm constantly. Well, I haven't listened to the version I did in a while, but I always listen to the original when I'm back on the road or if I'm getting ready to do a show, and I know it's going to be played. If they want me to play it, I'll try to listen to it and re-brainwash myself. So,
Yeah, yeah.
because usually I never really get to do the whole song or exactly like it is on the album, the vinyl. So I have to improvise. George, you may come in and he'll cut it at this point, or he'll cut it at a certain point. So I'm always editing it on the live stage thing. You never know how long it's going to go or whatever.
Yeah.
But I try to stick close to the original.
So when you were playing with those guys, was Eddie there listening too?
Oh yeah, I think he was. I think he was there. I'm not sure, because of the way they,
Yeah.
the way it went. He might not have been there because I can't remember seeing him at the show. He might have seen him, but with so much going on, you could barely see over the front of the stage thing, and I didn't know who I was looking at, so yeah, he probably, it's a good chance that he was there, but he didn't, it seemed like he might have said something to me, like because he was he's a guitar player, but everybody's probably doing their own thing. So it's hard to say if he was there or if he had already went to the West Coast or wherever, Detroit, wherever he ended up playing for Motown and those sessions.
Yeah.
It's hard to say when him and Billy Bass, made the move.
Did you ever meet Eddie or Billy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to get down to see him. He's not too far from me, of the playing field, and I heard he, on a more concerning note, like he may, he's having some problems as a dude when you get older, but I believe he's okay. But I think about going to see him. He's yeah, he's got a nice personality, is real strong-willed, so it's a lot of pride there, and a lot of times people don't want you to see him in that, in another type of a state. So he's a little sensitive, but yeah, I met him, and he was like, one of my older cousins or my uncle or something, older, and then basically he would chastise you. He ain't gonna give you. It's like that tough love,
Yeah.
You ain't really all that, It's like, you tell me about somebody else that played guitar, and it's like, okay, I know, what was, forget his name. Oh shoot, that's messed up. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of horde of guitar players out there. I get it. I get it. You know,
Yeah, well, that's the
you know.
thing. Like for sure, when it comes to that, like you, like there's always gonna be someone doing something you haven't looked into yet. And I think the key
Uh,
thing is that you just do what you're gonna do, and that's what
right?
people, that's what's gonna shine about you. And like,
Yes. Stay in your lane. Yeah, I'm just
or
stay right here in my lane. You know.
yeah, or just even find one, because so many.
Yeah.
I feel like one guitarist thing, and I find myself doing this as a lot, and it's like you get so inspired by all these different players, and you want to learn bits of
Uh,
everything, and you kind of sometimes
sure.
like lose your own trajectory of being good
Yeah.
at a thing because you try to be good
It,
at everything.
exactly. Yep. It's true. Yeah. I just be like, okay, if I get a gig or a job or opening, and they say we want you to play it like this, and then if I'm given some time to try to learn it, I'll try to learn, because I love doing that too. It's like, I guess, like sketching and drawing, because I haven't got all the way into it like I wanted to, but I'm not too bad at that. And so with notation and listening, I'm just glad I got like a sensitive enough ear to hear the little intricates and stuff like that. And I try to get them, and it's really it's really satisfying. It's always like you getting to know the person. You haven't even met them. You just trying to play something exactly like they play it, and you start feeling, well, you got to know something. We got to be on the same page somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even just like
Yeah,
learning how they would approach that. It's like how they would say or
sure.
express, a thought. And
Yeah,
like, I definitely agree. It's like, it's especially music wise, it's like learning how, like, well, okay, he bends that third there. That's a really cool way to
yeah,
kind of approach this thing. You really do get into like the minutia of that. Yeah.
yeah. Minutia. That's a different word. Well, okay, teach. I got you, man. So far,
Um,
good.
So okay, so when you start playing in like you, because that's they have you come out and you do Maggot Brain and you slowly learn the show, like is Parliament happening at the same time, or is that like that split between Funkadelic and Parliament, is that like already happening at that point, or is it just Funkadelic?
Yes, it was more funkadelic, I think. But Parliament it was happening at the same time, because I think they did some songs that were Parliament, but I didn't know the difference actually at the time. It was whatever was on the set. So
Okay.
yeah, but they definitely meshed, together some kind of way, because the singers would have their thing, and there was a vocal thing that they were working out, but it was mostly, I believe it was funkadelic for me mostly, and yeah, I don't think we were doing like Testify, like the first hits that Parliament had. I'm not sure we were doing. Oh, was the Goose? Yeah, we did the Goose. That was Parliament,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So yeah, I remember playing the Goose. Yeah. So it was meshed together, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah. So both of them are existing, when two different songs. Yeah.
Okay. And then, and when you do the first record with them, Take It to the Stage, like the following record, Tales of Kidd Funkadelic, now, was that inspired from you joining the band? What's the story between of the tales of the kids of Funkadelic, or the Kidd
I,
Funkadelic?
I have no idea. Just like this into the public domain thing is taking on its own trajectory. Is like somebody, because I was the youngest at the time. I believe it was Pedro Bell. He, the artist of a lot of the covers. I think he originally in his head, started, you know, his that whole trajectory of drawing it and creating the name, like I didn't say, hey, call me Kidd Funkadelic, you know, from now on, because I'm the youngest, you know, it's like, it just is on the album cover, you know, like it's in Michael, you just insert Michael Kidd Funkadelic Hampton. Okay. Okay. So that's how I started signing autographs and stuff like that. But when my first sessions were Stretching Out, you know, and Be My Beach, you know, and Be My Beach happened to land on the Funkadelic album, and then Stretching Out, of course, with Bootsy's Rubber Band. You know, so I really, when it wasn't like we went in the studio and this is going to be on this album, and they didn't give me anything. All I did was record at United Sound up in Michigan. There it was on Wayne State University campus at the time. I think it's still there. I think they're still trying to hold on to it. Yeah, we did a whole lot of we'd call graveyard sessions. You know, we played all day, all night. You know, different shifts. We stayed at across the street, like a little motel was right across the street. So we drag out of the studio, cross the street, go to bed, get up, come back up to the studio, record all day. That was the thing, you know. And I didn't know what song. It's probably still stuff out there. They may have said it was going to be on something, and they didn't know what they just put the songs, or George or whoever decided. They decided to put this track. They sung on this track. They had lyrics for this track, and then they just started putting them on different albums, whether it be Parliament or this would be Funkadelic, because sometimes, like, Not Just Knee Deep sound like it should have been Parliament, you know, and then you got Felipe Wynn singing on Not Just Knee Deep, you know, and it's Funkadelic, you know. So, but I think the horns, you know, made the distinct thing between Funkadelic and Parliament. So it wasn't a lot of, I don't think it was any horns on Funkadelic at all. And then Parliament, yeah, of course they use horns and things.
That's so, because I read that George was trying to like do his own kind of attempt at a Motown thing, and like there was all the different projects, you know, happening, coming from like, you know, the Brides of Frankenstein, Bootsy's stuff.
Frankenstein. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you said Frankenstein.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Of course. But yeah, and like so like. But you know, all this is happening, so that makes sense that like the kind of writing process or the recording process of this is just the studio's open and like you guys are just tracking. Okay, so like when like I don't know, when like Bootsy brings up like or would that happen? Would a groove just establish and everyone would add like melodies and parts to it, or would someone like present like, hey, I have this idea, can we work on this?
Probably all of them, you know.
All of it? Okay.
It's probably all of the different approaches, because for Stretching Out and Be My Beach, that was done, I know it was done, it's the only thing I know that I did in the same day. And Bootsy just came in and he says, this is the part. They put the track on, and I played, you know, the rhythm to that, and that's all I did. I just, you know, they mixed it, and then Be My Beach, the solo on there, I just did it, you know, just happened to make the album, what have you. But yeah, they probably just wrote it. They might have had a vision for it. I wasn't really included in the process like that. Like I did Adolescent Funk, and then I did something like Mr. Wiggles. That was just me playing a rhythm thing through the whole thing. You know, I mean, through the whole track. I was up in New York somewhere, but it just took on. It took on its own life. You know, it's like somebody heard a track, or they might have had an idea before that, but all I knew is I just came in and I played whatever we started jamming on, and yeah, there's some the older guys, Gary, Boogie, Bernie and Bootsy seemed like they did a lot of tracks previous to, before we laid any guitars or anything like that on. But I was a side man, I mean, in a sense, just, I didn't say, hey, listen, I got this song, Yeah. I was never really trying to promote that. Really that's one of those things like, yeah. If somebody doesn't like it, it's like, oh, my feelings gonna get hurt,
Yeah.
Say, what do you mean you don't like it? This is the shit. This is the shit, man. But anyway.
Yeah, but well,
yeah, I just follow along.
Yeah, when you're playing with guys like that, like, I mean, there's a myriad of lessons to be learned from just following along with Bernie or Bootsy, like, so, and
pecking order.
And like, so I totally get it. I guess even like, so I guess through that, cause that's a very versatile experience to be like, okay, we're working with this Brides of Funkenstein. Like, how am I going to support this? How's that going to be different than this track? And so much of it sounds like just being in the moment and giving what the song needs. But like, through a whole like training of that, it's like a whole like Bruce Lee training. It sounds like of just being like able to adapt to anything that's presented your way. What were I guess some takeaways from like working with like Bootsy or with Bernie or like in just ways to approach and adapt your musicality to fit whatever is presented?
Just I know with Bernie, I had to re-intonate my guitar, because I had it set up. Strat, I had it set up so it would be like easy to bend. So I put all the saddles all the way back, right? But I got the fourths and the fifths and all that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much in tune with itself, right? Some sort of way I intonated it. But when I was tuning up on stage, it would always be that thing, can you give me an E, and I get the E from Bernie and I get the A from Bernie. I get all the open things from him, all open strings, all open notes. And then those be tuned open. And then when I hit something on the neck, it wouldn't match up, it would be a little bit, oh, that's a little sharp, or that's a little flat, or that's a little so. And so, I learned how to, I intonate bone instrument. I always used to mess around taking models and all that stuff apart. But so I just kept messing around with it, and I did it by ear. Now you got the tuners, right? But I set it up so it would match up with them. So I learned a lot about just being in tune with from Bernie, with just being in tune with the keyboardist. It's like I wanted it to. I definitely believe that if it hadn't been for that, like I'd have a different response to whatever I play, because if it's a little out, if the intonation is out, you could be playing some incredible stuff, but it'd still be that underlying intonation probably wouldn't get all the way through to whoever was listening to it, whether they knew you were out or in, but you would know, So once I was really sure about that, I could go forward, and knowing that I was in tune, and it wasn't like, oh, wait a minute, you're a little flat. It had to be the instrument, and just make sure that the instrument is solid, And Bootsy, it was basically his work ethic, rehearsing. He used to just rehearse. It was like, he might have been like that before James Brown, but whatever with James Brown, it was tight, so I learned how to really be, really tight on the grooves and pockets from Bootsy and Tiki and the rest of the band. Junie, not to forget about him. Junie was also very proficient. Junie Morrison, I believe he was Funkadelic before. Well, I heard stories that he was producing Ohio Players at the same time before Funkadelic. Not before Funkadelic, but actually I don't know the history, but somehow Junie is in there. I just know that, and if anybody checks out his music catalog, you'll hear it, because this. If you haven't heard it, Dave, Junie was wow. He was somewhere else. He was all over the place too, Yeah. But yeah. So, but I love. Yeah, but I learned a host of things that probably intangible stuff, but like coffee don't always work. It's like you can be drinking as much coffee as you want. You think that you're gonna be up, but after a while, your body says, "Nah, ain't nothing happening." Not and not everybody is for every session. So I learned to accept the fact. I think I don't know who said that or taught me that, but I didn't take it personal if I wasn't called for a session, or if I wasn't on a track. There's certain people that they want a certain feel from, and I was the go-to on a lot of the just overdub the solo right here, or George would be good, right? But George, or somebody would say I'd be good right here. But and then the engineers like Jim Vitti is one engineer that stood out. His name, of course, it was a host of different engineers and guys that mastered, I guess, down the way. But I just they were patient with me. Boogie and Gary used to, we practice in the room. We didn't have those little practice amps or nothing, and you could tell that you had a good instrument. If you could hear it without plugging it up you could hear it right off of the instrument itself. Yeah. So they'd show me the Cosmic Slop, how they actually played it. Like it was done like open. Yeah. I play a lot of stuff. If it's open or what, I try to learn it on the neck so I can move it around.
Right. Right.
But they would show me how they actually wrote it, which was that makes it slick, because you had to do little pull-offs, like Stand on the Verge. Yeah. That was open. It was like, wait, I'm like, when I learned it, I didn't learn it like that. But when they showed me how they played it, I was like, oh shit, that's slick. So I learned a lot of little I say tricks or just techniques that they would do that was, that made it special. Even like to do something in a track just one time, right? It doesn't matter all of, how slick the lick is, and I'll just do something, some kind of nuance, just do it one time. It's got to be real slick, as far as I can tell, and then you don't do it anymore. Like in Stand on the Verge, I think Boogie was playing bass, and it's just it's like doom, 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 just like it's just a little half step slur. Yeah. I think he only did it like once, but he's the one I think that might have told me that one. Yeah, Boogie Monson. Cordell Boogie Monson. Tyrone Lampkin, I told you I like the drums, and he told me he was like a drum major, so he taught me how to actually practice rudiments, which is you kind of raise it almost all behind your neck, behind your back, and come down, and then you get closer, you get your drum roll, little techniques like that. Tiki, it could have been it could be all kind of different things, not just music.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah.
It's how to be. I was like saying the instrumentation, but I learned a lot. Don't ask for somebody's a sip of somebody's beer without knowing exactly what's going on with that thing. Because I remember we got somewhere and the rent-a-car stopped, and it's like, but we get to the hotel and I think Tiki might have had he had a Budweiser. He was, and so I was like, you get a sip, or something, young brash, yeah, hey, I get a sip of your beer, and I hit this thing and he had it like, it was laced with vodka on the top. So like, I didn't know what a Boilermaker was. Yeah, well, that was a surprise, but anyway, yeah. So I had a good day. Had a good day that day, but or something. But yeah, just little stuff. But yeah, just through playing like Gary and Boogie when we play together. If it was good on stage, it would just be this feeling. I get a chill thinking about it. Whatever that feeling is. When you can play off of somebody and it's cooking, and it's like you got that feel and nobody's in each other's way. You just like you hit that lick, it's almost kind of like sparring around.
Yeah.
Like boxers spar around, but you got the same notes going on, not something outside the key center. We're not trying to. Just as long as we working with the same notes that belong in the mode somewhere, you can do whatever you want rhythmically, Yeah, but and Eddie just from listening to him, he that rhythmic way he plays solos, because he was actually, it seemed like he was playing more. Well, it's a rhythm instrument anyway, but rhythm section. But his solos sound rhythmic all the time, he. He's all not. So I don't know what you could call it. There's some people would call it a hictadab. It's just kind of like that, like when you slap your knee, when they used to do that, yeah. Anyway, slap your knee in your chest or something. I can't even do it now. Oh, I'm standing up. Anyway, hey Dave. So okay, go ahead.
No. Like, but that makes sense, man. There's so many talented musicians and artists and just people around. It makes sense that the lessons were more than just music. It's life, because ultimately, like, to some degree, even what we were talking about before, when you're figuring out how someone really is trying to say something with their instrument, you're figuring it a little bit about their inner psyche and about them, So it makes sense that like all these things poured over in different ways. Did you get to like learn anything like from George in that sense?
Well, that's through instrumentation, but through recording in the studio. And him, he would definitely, like, if he had a vocal, you could talk back and forth in the studio. I might be in the studio and he's by the soundboard, and he has given me, like vocal things, like play the vocal line this, could have been when we did Knee Deep, there was vocal things going on in there. Or if I could hear anything vocal, and it was a direction, then I would do it. And to this day, I mean, I was trying to do things like that I didn't really know. I wasn't trying to play the vocal parts when I first started playing guitar, but now when I don't know like a song or something like that, I'll just go straight to the melody, and then the chords. I'll get the chords later, but if I don't have the exact chords in my head, I just go for the melody, and I try to mirror the melody, and somehow I'll find a chord out of it or something, But yeah, it was just feelings, in the studio. Some of it was kind of like, oh man, that stuff it's like, it sounds the same. I did that already, you know? It's like, I played it like that. It's like, no, you know, let me take it one more time. Take it to exaggerate. Take it for the millionth time. You know, it's like, can you almost had it. Some of those things that I learned, I didn't say that just him, but through different people we work with, you know, they say, well, you know, how much do you know, I don't even like to think about charging somebody for working, but sometimes, I mean, it's like, come on, it's like, I'm about to say, I guess I should charge you according to how much you put me through, you know, in the session, because sometimes it doesn't make sense. It's like, wait a minute. And then when you hear the finished product, and you're just like, okay, yeah, this is what they were searching for. Right. Perfection. It's like, when is it perfect, man? You know? Did we get it? You know, it's like so they taught me relief after getting apart.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Is that it? Oh, was that it? Are you sure? Let's take it one more time, because I'm loving it now, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you can get so lost in that, though. You get so, there's like, tunnel vision in that, man.
I'm taking all the fun out of this part right now. It's like, it's going to sound good, you know, when somebody else listens to it. Cool. So that's what we're working for. And now I try to understand that the best I can. I'll work with anybody, you know. But, you know, it might, they get to be working me to that one where it's like, oh, come on, man. Come on, woman. Whoever you are in there, it's like, I think I got the wrong guy. Maybe somebody else should be doing this part. You know? But, that's all I got. Yeah, I mean, not all I got, but
but that's,
it's just a bunch of things.
That's it. Yeah, that's a lot of a takeaway. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something you only learn from doing that and being involved in such a a kind of open but like driven project like that.
Pay attention. You know.
Yeah.
But it should be like that. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you, man.
Call me anytime.
Will do, man.
Okay.
Awesome,
my brother.
Have a good one, man.
Keep it good. Okay. Bye.
Yo, Spike Spiegel here. You just listened to Zig at the Gig podcast. Keep riding the bebop. See you, Space Cowboy. Bang.